psychedelics are really taken off these days, right? But what if there was a tool that you could use that would have many of the same benefits as psychedelics, but it was only light? That's right. This is a physical light device called the Lucia #3. It has central halogen bulb and LEDs, and it is designed to be used with your eyes closed and take you into a beautiful state, the hypnagogic state, which is somewhere between being awake and being asleep, where the nervous system actually goes through this whole process of recalibration, and there's an opening for a dialogue between the conscious and subconscious mind. It's a place where the default mode network actually lets down its guard and opens up, which allows the brain to have a chance to reorganize in a similar way as psychedelics. Because here's the thing, a lot of therapists have taken courses about psychedelic therapy, about holding space for psychedelics, and sure, you can take a 2-day course to understand about that, and you can know some of the basics, but what it takes to be an actual facilitator of true transformative psychedelic experiences is a lot of experience yourself with psychedelics. A lot of experience in that space, a lot of confidence and clarity, and being able to hold an energy field, basically being a shaman. And not everyone's designed to be a shaman. And while there's amazing benefits that can happen when working with psychedelics, people can have huge breakthroughs, it's also not for everyone. If a lot of people are on medication and in kind of other states, it can really impact them in a negative way. For women going through menopause, if you take a large dose of psychedelics, it can really affect your hormones, even perimenopause. And that's not really spoken about, right? In this world where we want quick results, psychedelics can really open things up, but they can also open up a can of worms. And if something traumatic happens during a psychedelic experience, it's imprinted in your consciousness that much deeper. So, do you feel ready to hold space for that kind of experience? Or are you, as a therapist, looking for a cutting edge tool that will help you open to new potentials with your clients, help take them deeper, and get a lot of benefits of psychedelics while only using light? Because that's where the Lucia #3 steps in. So let me tell you a little personal story. About 12, I guess it's almost 14 years ago, wow. I was going through a lot. You know, I had really classic complex PTSD symptomology. I was having trouble sleeping. My father had passed away, and as can happen, when he did, all kinds of childhood traumas and memories started surfacing on a very deep level. And what that meant for me was that I was disassociated. I was out of body. I couldn't explain even what it was, but I felt terrible. Enter the Lucia light. Without even going to a therapist, I actually just went to a art gallery in London, invited by a friend, and I had a really deep experience. And that experience helped my nervous system relax, and I started sleeping again after 8 months of not sleeping. It was incredible. And I started feeling joy again because my nervous system regulated and a sense of safety came back in. And that safety was not just from relaxation. I had tried sound baths. I had tried float tanks. I had tried things that deeply relaxed me. And the relaxation itself wasn't enough. What the light provided was this activation followed by this wave into deep relaxation, while at the same time the pulsing light was gently entraining my brain to actually give my brain space to recalibrate. And what they've seen with the Lucia light in particular is a combination of the warm halogen bulb that has a wide spectrum and LEDs that pulse at different rates. And the Lucia light sessions are like songs, so they have a variety of different frequencies during it. They're not trying to entrain you into one state, but they're actually just inviting you to dance, inviting the brainwaves to dance, opening up that space of like, hey, we're gonna kind of go into this trancey energy and you can reorganize yourself as you like. It's like the ecstatic dance of brain entrainment. I had this experience with light, and after even one session, I had such a complete transformation. I was like, oh my God, I need support with this. And as I learned more about it, I found even more interesting things. So it's developed by a neurologist and psychiatrist from Austria, and they even have their own whole theory and understanding of how to work with it that's called neuropsycholysis, which is basically this beautiful framework of how you can work with light instead of an entheogen or psychedelic and actually create this opening that's, again, this conversation between the conscious and subconscious mind. So if you're a therapist and you've worked with clients over periods of time and you kind of reach certain plateaus, right? And especially if they're on medication, I totally understand the acute need for medication in certain circumstances. And in this society, my personal belief is that there's a lot of medication flowing, right? And what I've seen with my clients is that when people are medicated on a regular basis, there's a numbing that happens. And within that numbing, there's not an ability to access these deeper areas. So even if you're having talk therapy and you're putting all this energy and effort in, and you're helping pull up these patterns, you may reach plateaus. Enter the Lucia light, right? Maybe your client isn't fully ready for psychedelics. Maybe you're not fully ready to hold space for psychedelics. That's okay. The light provides an experience that's going to be deep. It's not going to go straight into their traumas. It's not going to, necessarily make them break out into tears of all this stuff. Every person's experience is different. But ultimately, what a series of sessions with the Lucia light can do is help rewire the nervous system and help open that conversation, right? It's a practice of surrender, of release, of letting go, and actually connecting and reconnecting with that divinity within. So a lot of people, when, they sit with the psychedelic plant medicine 5-MeO DMT, right? That's one of the most intense psychedelics on this planet, if you haven't tried it. And if you have, what's interesting about it is it's actually taking you into this oneness, a state of like total connection with the entire universe, right? But when people are doing it in a plant medicine capacity, there's actually a way that just gets sucked out of their system and just thrown into this high frequency. And for some people, they can handle it, and it's the most amazing thing, and it's like this remembrance of the everything, right? And for other people, it actually starts disassociating them, and they have a really hard time holding this contrast. So I do energy healing as well, and I've worked with clients that like basically have like a separation in their energy system, because one part of them is this like in this unity consciousness, and then another part of them is like in this really low frequency. It's really separated. And so what the Lucia light does that's really different but also similar is it actually starts opening those spaces within your consciousness and ability to kind of ride that elevator up into that unity feeling, which doesn't always happen the first time, right? It's more about a series of sessions. It's more about practice. It's about a gentle unwinding as your system is ready, rather than a psychedelic blast out of your system, right? But as your system starts unwinding, as your nervous system starts regulating, as you start being able to receive more and more of the light and practice letting go and practice getting into these states of meditation where the mind isn't in control, where there's this moment of peace, as this peace starts becoming a practice, then the consciousness naturally starts rising up into these states. And these states of oneness and bliss can help us remember the divinity within all of us. And as we remember that divinity, and however you want to explain that, right? It doesn't have to even be like about God or something. It can just be like the deepest peace, right? It doesn't have to be religious. If you have complex PTSD or your client has complex PTSD, it's not so simple to just reach peace, right? If you're a control freak and you're neurotic, it's not so simple to just clear your mind and reach peace. So this technology is a little different than psychedelics because, again, it's not just like opening and winding into these conscious layers, but it's actually helping you know what peace is. And in that process, having many of the same benefits of psychedelics, of actually opening new neural pathways, creating different harmonic states in the brain that are very similar to deep meditation without 20, 30 years in a monastery. And let's be real, in this current society, what do we need more than anything? A break from all the stimulation, right? And that's part of why I even just made this video longer, because gosh, I'm sick of this world of TikTok reels that last 30 seconds and we're just on this like crazy thing, right? And so of course people are burning out. Of course people are taking medication to numb. Of course people are absolutely overwhelmed. And of course, talk therapy alone is not really doing it. So if you're curious to learn more about this incredible technology, I would love to set up a call with you to talk about how you can integrate it in your practice. I've been working with it for years, and there's really not side effects. There is an intake form to understand what a person's past history is. If they have like a family history of epileptic seizures, which is really rare, then that's not recommended. But otherwise, or if they're like not sleeping for days or some like really extreme acute situation, then, doing this kind of thing might not be recommended. But other than that, like, it's an incredible tool to help work with consciousness on like a really deep level. It's a way, besides psychedelic medicine, that we can start supporting people and actually reclaiming their wholeness and coming home to themselves. And if you've worked with clients, as I have, and as I've been through myself, that have dealt with really deep and intense, complex PTSD, you just wish there was a way to make it easier, right? I've certainly found for myself and with so many of my clients that this light can really help along the way. And that's why I work with it, and that's why I support it. I also help with trainings. We're doing a 1-year full facilitator training starting at the end of May. And we also have other ways to get involved. If you're already a facilitator of different things, and there's different ways to get going with it. But reach out if you have any questions. I would love to be in contact with you. My name is Allison. I've been working with this technology for the last 12 years. It took me about a year to get a hold of one of myself, and it's just been the gift that keeps giving. Even for myself, like the other thing that I'll say as I end here is that, as someone holds space for other people, it's also really important to take care of your own energy field. And in moments where things are intense, I mean, if you're a therapist and you're holding space for people all the time, that's a lot. That's a lot, And how do you come back to yourself? As an energy healer and supporter of people in different ways, and I work with all kinds of techniques, I really found that the Lucia light helps me too. So, it's not only like a tool for my clients, it's actually something that I can drop into myself after a session, after a day of work, and recalibrate my own nervous system and release, like consciously just like let go of all this client stuff that's been in my field, so I can, be with my partner and be present with that and not be still like in these stories. Because just because we want to help people, we also don't need to take on their stuff, right? We want to be a supporter in their field, but ultimately they have to do it for themselves. And that's what this light does. It's like helps hold them in that space so they can work with it in themselves. And then you're there to support them and to feel that breakthrough and help them reinforce that. But it's not about you doing something for them. It's about the light holding the space. And that's why the light can hold space for you too. So if you're curious, have any questions, want to get involved, please let me know. I'd be happy to chat with you. I'm going to be traveling in the Northeast, New England area, and also up in New York City and around that area this summer. But I do different tours, and we have light practitioners all over the country, and more coming as we start really taking this to next level. There's a lot of studies that are coming out in Europe now, and as this is becoming more recognized, this technology is really taking off. And the Lucia light is really special because it has this central halogen bulb, which is a wide spectrum of light. And if you know anything about how light impacts our system, like if you've ever felt amazing from a sunrise or a sunset, that's because that's infrared light, right? And infrared light is known, but this is a different application where it's like, yes, you get the infrared light that's actually going straight into the nervous system from your eyes, and then the flickering light is what actually helps drive the brain waves and help the nervous system go into full relax. So there's nothing like this out there. They have a patent on it. It was developed by an actual neurologist and psychiatrist, unlike a lot of the kind of knockoff things that are just LEDs. So anyway, happy to talk about all of it if you're interested. Obviously, I could talk a lot on this, so I'm going to let it go here. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you made it this far, you could leave a little comment. That'd be great if it was helpful for you. And yeah, thanks for doing the work you do. I see you. I feel you. And it's going to take all of us, It really takes all of us to step forward to shift these things. And I also know we can do it. So thanks for being part of it.